When the daughter of a Spanish woman broke one of her favorite toys, it was almost mandatory that the mother purchased her a new one. Instead of explaining that she had to buy a new one though, she said to the child that she had found the toy, and of course, this put the sweetheart into nothing but pure joy. After a few weeks of supposedly having the toy back, everything went back to normal, and the kids' sleeping patterns were unaffected. But it did not take long for them to find something strange about this replacement item. One day, the mother entered her child's room and discovered this.
Solo busco a alguien que pase por lo mismo.
Yo tenía días que no se ponía a jugar con esa cosa. Y ahorita que entré otra vez, vi que está ahí. Me voy a acercar para que vean de lo que todos dicen que imanes y no sé qué. Estoy prácticamente enfrente de él. Igual han dicho.
The toy continued to expand and contract in a way that science would fall to explain, and it was very obvious that a spirit was the root of this problem. It made no sense why this family would be haunted, because none of them believed in these things, and furthermore, did much bad. Their child did have an imaginary friend though, and this played a huge factor in the mother putting the toy in the trash and allowing the child to think that they lost it again. Diego was a member of the backroom staff in a supermarket, and it was safe to say that he absolutely despised his occupancy of work. The job was simple, yet boring. All he needed to do was continuously meet up with delivery drivers and check their deliveries to be certain that the storage unit had the correct amount of stock in it, and he dreamt that one day something interesting would happen. Fortunately, in the following video, his dreams came true, but not quite in the way that he would have liked them to. Diego was minding his own business during an unpaid break in the storage room when he heard some suspicious sounds. It was because of this that he started to record.
Puta madre.
The huge movement trolley started to move without any visible force acting upon it, and this stumped Diego. He quickly ended the recording and left the room to make sure whatever caused this would not attach to him, and he is lucky to be able to say it didn't. For some reason, a lot of the recent ghost sightings broadcasted on this channel have come from supermarkets, and the reason behind this is actually unknown. If you have any theory as to why these places are so commonly haunted, then please have a try at explaining it in the comments, because it is very confusing. Anyway, The following video came from a customer in a supermarket late at night who believed he had seen a shopping cart move on its own accord. Did he? Well, he began to record the cart to see if he could catch it again on camera, and this is what his phone managed to capture.
Como pueden ver, se está moviendo solo. Moviendo solo.
To his absolute luck, the shopping cart did in fact move again, and this time he had some solid evidence to back him up. He sent the video to his manager as well as uploading it to social media, and both parties gave differing verdicts. His manager said that there was absolutely no reason to believe that this was convincing evidence, so did not act upon it, whereas the social media users thought of it to be a serious situation and gave him all sorts of advice. Where do you stand on this clip? Let me know down below. The following video took place in the basement of Gus and his family, who had all only recently moved into their new home. The transition into the new house was surprisingly not very stressful and happened really smoothly, exactly as they would have liked, but little did they know that they would rather it had been a difficult process than go through what they did in the house. Every night they would hear mysterious noises coming from the basement, and one day, Gus decided to brave up and investigate with a camera. This video showcases what he managed to get on film, and it was strange to put things in a lighter tone. Despite the vehicle clearly having no batteries inside of it, it was operating in a perfectly normal way. This meant that some other form of energy source must have been empowering it. And furthermore, something will have pressed the button, which makes it act. The whole situation was unexplainable, and Gus immediately placed the toy vehicle in the trash afterwards. Perhaps it was the source of the hauntings, or perhaps it was just a piece of it. Subscribe so you don't miss future videos and the potential ending of this tale. The family in the series of clips that you are going to be exposed to in due course has appeared in several other videos on this channel before, and their story continues to get worse. For those of you who are new here, the family goes by the name the DS family, and they have been a haunted family for years. Now, it is pretty obvious as to why being haunted for an extended period of time is horrible, but when you add children into the story, things get far worse, and the family suffering had a lot of kids. In order to obtain content and keep exposing the poltergeist, the mother of the family decided to do a routine recording of the entire house before sleeping every night, and during one of them, this video was caught. When she reached the highest room in the house where her son slept, she noticed drawers opening and closing with their own free will, and she quickly abandoned the scene. The reason the child was not sleeping in this room was because it had the most paranormal activity in the entire house, and this often stopped him from getting decent rest. The fact that this room was the most haunted has been proven countless times on this channel, with several clips showcasing it. But just to convince you some more, here is another piece of footage that was caught on camera here, just 3 days after the incident that I have just shown to you.
Attends, je te montre, c'est celui-ci. Tu vois, avant il avait celui-là, mais il est un peu petit, du coup on lui a pris celui-là. Je vais t'envoyer le lien, franchement, pour aller dans sa nouvelle chambre, il est grave content. Et... Oh. Oh, c'est quoi ça? Putain. Il est là l'interrupteur. J'ai pas compris, franchement, je sais plus, hein. Franchement. Il y a un reflet là ou c'est moi? C'est quoi ça? Ah non, c'est le reflet du truc. C'est pas comme ça.
This time the lights were acting up, and at the end, something fell to the ground, again, triggering the mother to enter flash mode and escape the room. This room may have been the most haunted area of the house, but it was by no means the only haunted area. This next and final clip came from the sitting room downstairs and transitioned into the bathroom, and it was very spooky.
Je crois que le robinet s'est ouvert. Faut que j'aille voir. C'est quoi ce bordel? C'est dans les toilettes, bordel, pourquoi les toilettes?
Somehow, the tap managed to start running on its own command, and nobody knew what could have possibly caused this. Theorists claim that it was likely just an electrical issue, but given the rough history of this family, I highly doubt the solution would be on such a simple side of the spectrum. Similar to the family that we have just discussed, Josiah Worley has been a victim of the spiritual world for quite some time now. Unlike most of the people that we come across, though, he has not made any effort to get rid of his spirit, so it does make a lot of sense as to why it continues to wreak havoc in his household. The following video took place on a normal date, at a normal time, but not in a normal place, Josiah's room. He was sitting down when his peripheral vision detected something pretty peculiar. Have a look.
Am I tripping? Am I tripping? Do you see that? Oh, okay. Can you not do that, please? Yeah, I'm leaving.
The item across from him on the floor was constantly moving, and Josiah was audibly in fear. He kept pointing at the item and filmed it to be sure that he had evidence of the scenario, and he was fortunate to have done so. This was not the only thing that he caught, though, and just one day later, this video was documented alongside the rest of his struggles.
So I recorded all that shit on my table. I recorded everything that's going on right now. There's no wires, no strings. You got my hands right here, but something's moving on my goddamn table, and that's really fucking irritating. Please stop. Please don't. Please, please, please.
It was very weird that this happened, and the camera was at a good enough angle to prove that something visible could not have caused it to happen. Subscribe as Josiah will be appearing in quite a few haunter videos throughout the future. The following video was captured by Ali, a father of 2 children who was married in a happy family. His wife and the kids were out doing some activities over the weekend, but unfortunately, due to work reasons, Ali had to stay home. Little did he know, however, that it wouldn't only be work that was going to go down during his time alone.
Pour diverses raisons, vous saurez ça bientôt en live. J'ai une vidéo là, tout simplement. J'ai entendu des pas dans les escaliers et comment dire, en fait la barrière a voulu s'ouvrir toute seule et du coup j'ai voulu tenter une expérience comme la dernière fois. Alors, je vais prendre tout simplement, tout bêtement, une peluche comme la dernière fois. Je vais la placer par terre. Là. On va voir si ça bouge. Alors, si tu es là, n'hésite pas à faire bouger la peluche, s'il te plaît. Alors bien sûr, j'explique, c'est pas parce que j'ai pas fait de vidéo depuis longtemps que il s'est rien passé depuis, mais bon, je vous expliquerai tout ça. Voilà. N'hésite pas, manifeste-toi s'il te plaît. Donc ça c'est le lapin. Est-ce que tu peux faire bouger la peluche? Le petit chien au milieu de la pièce. Oh. Wow, c'était quoi ça? Tu peux le refaire? Non, je tiens à montrer quand même. C'est vraiment une peluche. Il n'y a pas de trucage, il n'y a rien. Il n'y a pas de ficelle, ni rien, vous voyez. Essaye de le refaire, s'il te plaît. On est limité par les 3 minutes de TikTok. C'est dommage, j'avais une réponse. Tant pis. Bah, merci de t'avoir manifesté.
To start with the obvious, the dog continued to move, and Ali was confused by this. The dog was purchased from a regular store, and there was no logical reason for it to be haunted. That wasn't the creepiest part of this clip, though. If you had paid very close attention, you would have realized the doll resting by the television slowly turned towards Ali throughout the video, and this had more of a spooky backstory. The doll had been a gift to his eldest daughter back when her grandma, Ali's mother, was still alive, and now that she had passed, perhaps this was what she used to reach her family. When friends all gather together, things become much less terrifying. It must just be some sort of instinct that our ancestors adopted, that being grouped up gives us a sense of safety, and this was the case for the friendship group in the video that you are about to watch. They were all staying at a friend called Ahmed's house, and it was a great time for them. That was until 10:23 p.m. when this clip was captured.
سمير
انا ما بعرف كل مرة بتقلي في صوت انا مش عم بسمع
عم بقول لك في صوت. سمعتوا الصوت؟ سمعتوا؟
عن شو قنينة هذه؟
طب قنينة كل يوم
مفتوح الشباك؟
لا مش مفتوح الشباك.
كمان شو في شيء غلط ما بعرف شو في.
طاولة لمبة. شو؟
يا نيني واقفة ما حالها.
وين؟ يا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وين؟
حلو كتير.
حلوين قلت لك يا سمير.
نايس.
قلت لك مش عم تصدقني ها؟ مش عم تصدقني.
طلع مزبوط على الخبرية.
مش عم تصدقني قلت لك.
من بعدها واقفة بالهوا.
سمير انتبه.
شو بدك يكون؟
أول شي الخزانة مش مفتوحة ها؟ فتحت لحالها.
حبايب.
حبايب. سمير.
شو بدك ايانا نعمل؟ مش عم بفهم يعني بنفل من البيت. حلو كتير.
شو عم بكي عم بدل على شي بكي.
شو عم بدل بفتح الشباك؟
يمكن بكي تفتح الشباك بكي بيهرب بكي بيصير شي. لا شي مش طبيعي.
حلو حط. Is anyone here خيي؟ في شي هون؟
يعني منيح انه صورت لحدا يصدق لك ايه لا شو كله تمام خلص
يعني اذا بده يكون في شيء بيكون خلصت الحكايه
كثير سمبل لا حبيبي انا بدي فيلم هون.
Now, obviously, a few of the people there were not nearly as terrified as they should have been, which was shocking to say the least. In such a dire situation, you would expect nothing but fear, but a few of the friends decided to not let it get to them, going as far as simply picking up the bottle and putting it down after the event had finished. I would not have been brave enough to do that, I can tell you that much. Sophie had a job that most people would not have the bravery to do, and that job is cleaning up the clinics at night. Whilst this may seem like a regular job at first that you could tackle, you need the crucial piece of information before you can judge. The clinics in which she cleaned were unobjectively haunted. Sophie would scramble to TikTok after almost every single clean and explain the hauntings that she had suffered from, but without any liable evidence, nobody believed her. And you can't blame the audience. There are tons of people lying about paranormal activity online, so what made Sophie different? Well, one day she managed to catch something on camera.
Seance, we're asking the board a bunch of questions. The planchette is actually moving. We're actually communicating with something. And then, I forget what my cousin asked, but she asked a specific question and... No way, bitch. I need to go turn the lights on. Okay, let's turn the lights on.
During one of Sophie's little story times where she explained her paranormal experiences just to get slaughtered and called a liar, the unthinkable happened. A trash can somehow flew out of a room onto the hallway mid-recording, and this was the turning point in Sophie's career. She finally had an audience that believed her. However, she still had a pretty large majority of non-believers spreading hate, but she would prove them wrong again in the following clip.
Every day, people remind me of why I stay quiet and I'm not fucking nice. Because this morning, I went to Cumberland Farms instead of Sunoco, specifically because they actually keep their coffee machines clean and they actually clean like their building, whatever. Sorry, I kept hearing weird shit. Anyways, so I went all the way to Cumberland Farms this morning specifically for coffee. So I saw this little short woman who's there every single day, who's like the manager or whatever, mending the coffees, doing whatever. So as I was getting my coffee, I was like, I just want to say thank you so much for the cleanliness of this building. Like, to be honest, like, for a gas station, this is like one of the cleanest places.
This time the activity spiked whilst she was telling another story, except she tried her absolute hardest to not give the spirit any form of attention. The knocks definitely forced her to stutter and go back on her words, but she would go to extreme levels to prevent the poltergeist from gaining any more fuel, and rightfully so. Dogs have been man's best friend for years upon years because the bond between the two species goes back to when humans first existed. In the modern day, dogs have been rewarded for standing by our sides for so long and are the most popular pets in the world. But what if I told you that they had a spiritual side too? We all know that both dogs and cats have the ability to sense things far more effectively than us humans do, which allows most of them to know when a poltergeist or ghost is in the vicinity. Well, they can also become these poltergeists after death, and the video that you are going to see shortly showcases an example of this. The man filming the video is named Maciek, and he was walking to the store to purchase some food for him and his family to have for dinner. Little did he know what he was going to end up filming on the way.
Mira, verdad, para que no diga que te miento ni que estoy loco. No hay ningún perro, ¿verdad? Y mira, mira. ¿Lo ves? Y no hay ningún perro. No hay ningún perro. Dios. Y me sigue.
For some strange reason, the shadow of a dog appeared next to Maciek, despite him clearly not being accompanied by one. What made things even more freaky was the fact that he had never owned a pet in his life. So even if it was a dog spirit, it made zero sense why it would choose to walk alongside him. The only thing about this footage that we know for definite is that it was weird and certainly struck some fear into poor Maciek. The saga of clips that we are going to look at next were all captured by the same person, and we have actually featured them on the channel before. The woman behind the camera is called Kaylee, and we ended her story in a bit of a sticky situation. Roughly 1.5 years ago, she made the decision to purchase a new house. This was meant to be a wholesome move for her family, so that they could all experience a fresh start and life elsewhere. However, it did not take long at all for them to realize it was haunted. All sorts of creepy stuff started going down, and it was only a matter of time before Kaylee started to capture things on camera, which brings us to today's video. Take a look. The door opened on its own accord, and it was almost as if the spirit was inviting Kaylee into the room. She understandably dropped her phone and ran like her life depended on it, because who knows whether the spirit would have done more or not. The good thing is that she got away. Now, in case you missed the first video that I mentioned Kaylee in, the room that the door was opening to was the most haunted in the house, and there were several pieces of footage confirming that, with another one recently emerging, such as the following. You see what I mean? This room was undeniably haunted. In fact, the banging of the door was so repetitive and loud that it forced Kaylee out of bed to investigate, and perhaps that was the poltergeist's goal, to disrupt her all along. Now, I did say that the room I just showed you was the most haunted in the house, but I did not say that it was the only haunted room in the house. The following clip showcases something horrifying occurring in Kaylee's bedroom, which must have added a ton to the discomfort levels. Haunting a house is enough, but making it effective in the person's bedroom gives them no means of escape. The obvious part of this video was the musical box playing without any human interaction, but if you paid extremely close attention to the mirror, you would have noticed something spine-chilling. Somebody's face was spotted towards the bottom of the mirror, and after reviewing the footage and noticing, Kaylee knew that this was no longer something that she could ignore. She decided that she was going to rest at her parents' house for the night and contact some form of ghost hunter to deal with the situation. Kaylee expected that leaving the house would cause the spirit to stop behaving strangely anyway, because there was no one to frighten, but late at night, she received a ring notification, which she managed to use as further evidence to get a ghost hunter on the case. This entire saga was honestly horrible for Kaylee, and we can only pray that she is in a better position now. The following video was captured by a shopkeeper called Damien, who was walking around making sure that everything was in pecking order before opening the store. It was very important to make sure that all the items were displayed well and nothing was misplaced, because it helped to maximize sales, which is important for obvious reasons. One day, whilst Damien was on shift doing this regular work, he started to feel weird and heard odd sounds. It was because of this that he started to film and managed to get this on camera.
Bueno, gente, soy el sereno acá de este supermercado y ahora estoy por lavar toda esta zona. Esta sería la zona de huevos, lácteos. Y bueno, acabo de escuchar algo en la fiambrería. Debe ser mi amigo el fantasma. ¿Qué querrá, no? Parece que mi amigo el fantasma se quiere comunicar a través de esas luces. Fantasma, ¿quieres tú algo? ¿Estás aquí? Dime. Ah, bueno. ¿Qué quieres? Hola. Bueno. ¿Me dejas trabajar mejor, fantasma? Por favor. ¿Me dejas? Que quiero trabajar tranquilo. ¿Estamos? Por favor.
All sorts of weird phenomena started to happen around the store, and Damien knew that something was there with him. From falling bread to collapsing trays, all of this would not have happened by sheer coincidence, and the spirit was making its presence known. This was a horrible experience for Damien and actually made him religious. F. Parchenet, neither him or the shop have seen or hosted any more activity since this date. The kitchen is a common place for paranormal activity, and I have absolutely no idea as to why. Seemingly every video that I publish on this channel has one or two instances that take place in the kitchen, and the one that you are about to see is no different. It took place in the home of Casos, a Spanish father of two who was enjoying his day off from work after lying about being sick. The bad karma got to him though, because this happened whilst he was supposed to be having a relaxed time.
Bueno, ahí para que vean después el video se lo voy a mostrar. Estoy colocando agüita para llevar un tecito, un termo. Vuelvo a cerrar. Tengo la taza. Esa es mi bebé. Esa pulguita es mi bebé, que se llama Canela. Y esperando. Aquí vean esta piolita. Ya, ahí empezó. Ya. Voy a empezar a huevear. Estoy hueveando. Bueno. No es algo muy normal. La taza se movió. El gato. No es muy agradable la sensación que se vive acá. Ya, es hueveo, ya. Ya cabros, un ratito para afuera.
He started to hear some mysterious sounds coming from the kitchen, so he did what anybody would have done and investigated. He expected to see something such as a rodent or his cat causing chaos, but what Casos found was very disturbing. The mug moved itself on its own accord not once, but twice, indicating that it was haunted. Casos was extraordinarily lucky to have caught this on camera, because who knows who would have believed him otherwise. Donna Ayres is a woman who you will be very familiar with if you are a regular on this channel. She has been a victim of paranormal activity for an extended period of time now, and she has uploaded so much content about her spirit that she will probably be seen in haunter videos several years down the line. The thing that makes her spirit weird is that a lot of its behaviors match that of her ex-husbands, who passed away a few months before the hauntings began. This has led many theorists to believe that he is the one haunting her, but if this is the case, then he must have a serious vendetta against her based on what he does.
Guys, I just thought I'd put you back on. That coin seems to like me very much because it just won't stop. It seems to be making... It's just doing its own shit. And you've got to see this. It is freezing, by the way, on where I'm stood, and I can hear... You wouldn't believe me if I said... Because you'll think I'm fucking losing the plot. I'm not. How is this possible? Guys, you've got to be seeing this. Who are you? What do you want? Are you restless? What do you want? Why won't you leave me alone? What is it you're trying to tell me? Guys, you're seeing this, aren't you? This is ridiculous. Guys, this is ridiculous. The fuck? This... Why you... No. Sorry guys, but I'm just coming in here. That coin just flew at me, right at me. Something. I don't know if it's because I have a Ouija board now and I'm egging this spirit on, but it's getting very violent, very. I'm just going to upload this footage now, guys, because there's too much happening now.
In this clip, the poltergeist toys with a coin that Donna left on the table, and she is evidently scared by this. If the ghost was that of her husband, it likely would have stopped once he realized she was in fear, but going off the fact that it continued to mess with the coin, and even launched it towards her, I am starting to tilt away from that theory. Let me know what you think in the comments. Diego worked in the storage unit at his local institution, and it was a job he enjoyed very much due to how easy it was for the pay. All he needed to do was keep tabs on how much stock the company had, so that if anything went wrong, such as an item being stolen, he could notify the higher-ups to resolve the issue. While the job was incredibly easy though, every now and then Diego felt kind of bored, because it did not involve much, and the majority of the time, nothing went wrong. Occasionally, he would yearn for some sort of crazy event to happen mid-shift for some simple entertainment, and one day, his optimisms were gratified. Take a look.
Mochila. ¿Qué está acá?
What seemed to be something along the lines of a bedsheet fell from the trolley, and Diego was completely and utterly baffled. He had no clue how he was supposed to react to such an incident, and actually ended up notifying his boss shortly after it happened. His boss claimed that it must have been caused by a source of wind, but there were no windows where this place was making this excuse, lame to put it in a light tone. This was definitely a ghost, and the only people who deny this are non-believers. When you think of the term ghost hunters, the chances are that you think of somebody whose job is to go out and seek ghosts. Whilst in most cases this would not be wrong, not all ghost hunters have this as a job, and many just do it as a hobby. The clip that you are next going to be exposed to was captured by one of those people who searched for spirits simply out of entertainment. His name is Ellis, and he decided to explore a haunted house when he caught this on camera.
Uy, no mames, ¿qué fue eso? ¿Hay alguien? ¿Qué fue eso, amigos? ¿Qué fue eso? ¿Qué fue eso? ¿Qué fue eso? Uy, alguien corre, alguien corre, alguien corre. Alguien está corriendo. ¿Hay alguien aquí? Miren, aquí hay puertas, como que alguien quitó la puerta. ¿Hay alguien aquí? Uy, 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 se acaba de mover esto, amigos. Se acaba de mover esto. Y esto se movió. ¿En dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? Queremos verte. Se acaba de mover esto. Uy, 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 uy. Uy, 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 uy. Uy, uy. Ahí está caminando, amigos. Ahí está caminando, ahí está caminando. Ahí está caminando. ¿Hay alguien? Uy, me caigo. ¿Hay alguien aquí? Si estás aquí, quiero que te manifiestes. Uy, ¿qué fue eso? ¿Qué es eso?
All sorts of clearly haunting things happened around the household, and there was no denying that a spirit was behind all of this. Despite doing this as a hobby for quite some time, Ellis was rather petrified this time around, and after ending the recording, left the scene completely. Camping in the woods can be a great experience or a horrible one, and it is rare that you manage to find anything in between. You could either have a blast with your friends and have zero sleep with maximum fun, or be stuck in the middle of a murder scene. And unfortunately, the latter was the case for the couple in our next video. They were having an innocent camping trip in the middle of the woods, then they suddenly heard some loud screaming noises that sounded way too close for comfort. This beckoned the woman to grab her phone and take this.
Got a load of kids running around in here. Can you hear them all?
That's a big ass dog.
That's a girl crying. Can you hear that, guys? Hang on. Turn the lights off for a minute, people. Turn these lights off. Turn these lights off. Hang on a minute, guys. We've got to turn these lights off. Turn the lights off. Turn that light off. Turn it off. Shh. Shh. Just sit down. It is a girl. It is kids, guys, but I did hear a girl, so can you just bear with us a minute? Because that bloke sounds a bit weird. Just bear with, yeah? Is he getting closer? Can we just turn all the lights off so he can't see us, please? Because he sounds really weird. Where's he gone? Oh my God. I can't even hear anything, and that's... What was that? I'm at Brian's, Sam. I'm near Brian's. See? I don't mind hunting ghosts, but it's the humans that worry me.
Same.
Human beings freak me out.
Give me a cryptid any day.
I just want to know that he's gone, really. Is that him? That sounds far away.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Right, okay, we're coming back. Give us a minute. Sorry, that was
savage.
That was just you know what it is, it's Saturday night, so even if they're playing around or not, he did sound a bit, yeah, I don't really want him coming over to me, so
Eventually, after a long period of time, the screaming came to a complete halt, and the two of them took a few moments to gain the confidence to turn the lights back on. Whoever was behind this clearly had ill intent, and they were both fortunate to have come out safe. The scariest form of paranormal activity is a debatable topic, and I can see myself listening to arguments for all sorts of types. One form of hauntings that I just fail to see past, however, is apparitions, and this is because they tend to have a creepy and uncanny nature. The following video took place in a little girl's room and was actually filmed by the girl who had only recently been gifted a mobile device from her parents. It is truly horrific that a spirit had the heart to put her through this. For a split second, the apparition of an uncanny spirit appeared in her room and it looked terrifying. She sprinted downstairs and showed her mother after the recording ended, who was equally as freaked out by the clip, and rightfully so. Alex is a woman who has appeared on this channel before for having a haunted home that she managed to obtain some clips from. This video is adding to her haunter appearance tally and showcases another time that she managed to catch the spirit in the act on camera, except this time it happened all around the house. Alex seemed to have to trek around the entire building to see what was going on, and she got a lot on camera. Due to having a portfolio of evidence ready to show off to a ghost hunter, once she had enough to hire one, she added this video to it, and if she posts anything else, you will be the first to see it if you subscribe. The following live stream was streamed to Twitch by one of the biggest streamers on the platform, Kai Cenat. Over a period of about 2 weeks, he had been teasing a collab live stream with the famous rapper NLE Chopper, and when it went live, hundreds upon thousands of people joined. For the majority of the stream, both celebrities were keeping a chill and relaxed vibe, with most of the chat enjoying it, but roughly 20 minutes into the NLE Chopper featured segment, this happened.
Wait. I got a surprise for you, bro. I knew you was coming, gang.
Oh, God. You got a surprise for me?
I got a surprise for you, bro.
Damn, that's how you know we in sync, cuz. We in sync. We know what's up, bro.
All right. Bring the baddies down. Bring the baddies down! I'm joking, bro. I got no baddies.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I got no baddies, bro. I got no baddies, chat. Wait, they said there's a clip here that we have to watch. Closet door opened by itself. No, it did not, bro. Stop lying, dude.
You got ghosts?
No, I don't got no ghosts, bro.
Yes, you could.
Closet door is right there. I got a surprise for you, bro.
Damn, that's how you know we in sync, cuz. We in sync. We know what's up, bro.
Alright.
No. Go, what the fuck?
Bro. Alright. Bring the baddies down. Yo. No.
What type of shit you got going on? I hope the hell can take a bullet on my ammo and get no fine in the hole. I ain't gonna lie, girl.
What the
Somehow the closet door moved on its own accord, and whilst trying to stay composed for the audience, it was evident that both NLE and Kai became more nervous. At first they didn't notice it happened, but fortunately the viewers were quick to alert them in chat, and they watched it back a couple of times, not being able to find a logical solution as to why this happened. Now there were quite a few theories that came from this incident, with one of them being that NLE Chopper used to be gang affiliated, so must have bodies, hence the haunting. However, some viewers were not as believing. They accused Kai Cenat of faking the incident to encourage a surge in the chat, but they just looked too unsettled for this to be the case. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now moving on from one of the biggest streamers in history, Kai Cenat, it's time to step down in fame and take a look at a paranormal encounter on a smaller stream. Sir Gary is a low-category streamer who plays games on live as a hobby rather than a job, although he does make a bit of pocket change from it. On one stream, he decided that he was going to play some Pokemon because he had not played it in a long period of time, but the stream was strangely interrupted. This interruption was very disturbing for Gary, who had no idea how to react to the situation, so take a look.
Oh shit, see? Yep, you've been nose passed. You've been nosed. Dude, my foot is... It's always something with me. My foot is killing me right now. Granted, I did drop my phone on it, and my phone... Dude, my foot is... It's always something with me. My foot is killing me right now. Granted, I did drop my phone on it, and my phone... Did anybody else fucking see that? Dude, did anybody else see that? What the fuck was that?
Behind Gary, the door slowly closed, and when he looked at the dash cam for a checkup, he noticed. For some odd reason, nobody in the chat noticed this happen, so he went on to assume he was imagining things. But after watching the footage, it is pretty clear that he was not. Gary was extremely lucky to have caught this incident on camera, because I highly doubt that anyone would have believed his tale otherwise. On May the 22nd of 2016, a stream VOD would be uploaded to YouTube that would go viral and cause all sorts of speculation. The streamer that this VOD belonged to was called Robbie, and he currently sits at just over 1 million YouTube subscribers. Back then, he was still just as large and made high-quality streams for the time on his Xbox 360. One stream, however, took the spotlight, and of course, it was one that involved him being haunted.
You guys let me know.
There's like a mix of hatred, like pure hatred against me, that there's love, and then there's just the weird ass comments telling me to fuck.
Yeah, I swear to God, my house is haunted. You guys had to have heard that on stream.
Look at Max Steele's comment.
Hold on, dude. I just heard like knocking, and I'm the only one here, and it wasn't on my door. That shit sounded like it was in the closet behind me. What if that closet
Stop being a. You're not face Carl. Your house is not haunted.
Dude, what if that closet behind me just started opening or some shit? No, I swear to God, I'm like, no joke. Like, I really did just hear something behind me.
But yeah,
I heard knock. See, Games Pro, he heard that shit, dude.
So go check your closet. Dude, if you like got on stream, that'll be awesome.
No, off.
I mean, that'll be. I mean, like, at least you'll have it on camera, right?
But it wasn't like a knock. It was more of like a creaking, but it was a loud creak. Like it was like someone.
Out of the blue, Roddy heard knocking from his closet, and a cold feeling swarmed his body. He was fully aware that something was in the room with him, but due to peer pressure from his friend on party chat, he decided to play it off and act brave. He noted that he was the only person in the house, so this could not have been a person messing around with him, at least not a family member. After making the decision to ignore whatever caused these knocking sounds, Robbie went back to the Xbox home screen and kept talking to his friend because it made him feel more comfortable. Little did he know that this was only the beginning though, and just moments later, the upcoming clip occurred.
Oh no, real shit? Real shit, I was in here recording and that YouTube plaque fell randomly, dude. Like and that thing's on there pretty f***ing good. And then my mirror in my bathroom fell. Like a bunch of shit is just randomly just falling over. My camera stand, 3 legs like this, and my camera stand falls. Out of here.
So you're the reason why people pick on me so much, dude.
I guess, yeah. Dude, stop. Did you hear that, Anon?
Yeah, it was like a thump, right?
Bruh.
I thought that was you.
I got goosebumps.
Dude, I heard that thump.
Bruh.
Dude, I'm gonna get off the Skype call, I'm sorry.
No, bro, stop.
Dude, I can't. This shit is freaking me out. Okay, maybe it's nothing. Maybe we're just thinking about it way too much. Like,
maybe,
and we're just
maybe I'm just...
We're just focusing on all the little things that we usually don't.
That was loud. That was loud.
Maybe.
Bro,
maybe it's your microwave.
My room, like I wish someone was here, dude. That's weird, dude. All right, I think I'm gonna go check on my dog though. Oh shit, no. Why is the Skype call messing up?
Robbie,
why is the Skype call messing up?
Robbie, oh my god.
Bro, right when I said I'm gonna go out there and check on my dog, right when I said that, my Skype call was like, stop giving me goosebumps.
Robbie, let your dog die. Just stay with me, okay?
No. Why isn't my Xbox turning on now, dude? This shit's f***ing weird. Bro, I swear to God, if I hear one more freaky ass... Bro, stop!
Hello?
Stop!
Dude, what the f*** is happening?
I said, I swear to God, if one more creepy thing happened, I was about to say I was gonna leave the house.
Dude. All my f***ing lights went out.
Alright, I gotta give an introduction to the film just because I have to upload this, so... Alright, guys. Oh my God.
What?
I literally just started filming. Did you hear that?
Dude, what the fuck is happening?
Did you just hear that? Fuck my dog, he's in my room. Alright. I go out there and I hear something by the washing machine and I think it's just you there, Anon? Bro, stop, because I just came in here because I heard a fucking bang on the wall. Someone said it's the Babadook. Have you ever watched that movie, Anon?
This time around, a thump could be heard, but this was not the only thing that added to Robbie and his pals' discomfort levels. Coincidentally, at the same time, the Xbox started being buggy, and furthermore, when Robbie suggested leaving the room, the Skype call disconnected for a split second. All of these things added together made for a spooky haunting, and even Robbie's friend was starting to become convinced this was not a safe situation. Knowing that he needed to keep the stream running to earn a good amount of money, Robbie continuously tried to restart his Xbox and hoped that it was just an electrical issue, but it was proved to be far from that. You see, in the other few clips of this situation, things could very easily be dismissed for a natural cause, but what you are about to see cannot.
Tonight is not my fucking night. Babadook, stop, dude. I hate the Babadook, man. That fucking creepy ass movie, bro. Oh my God. Bruh. Everything just fell. My camera stand, my mic. What the? Hold on, guys, hold on. I don't even know how to fucking. Hold on. What the? My fucking stand, dude. My fucking camera stand again. Bro, I'm putting this on the floor. I'm putting this shit on the floor.
Robbie's entire setup collapsed, and he was in clear sight, so obviously didn't interfere. It acted as a horrible jump scare for both Robbie and his audience, who simply expected to watch a stream of a humorous man playing action-packed games. Whilst this WOD was terrifying for Robbie, he would have made a lot of money from it, so he can't be too angry at the spirit. Going back to a streamer that we have already discussed in this video, we have Kai CNET, and he does not fail to gain entertaining clips. This one was also, of course, a paranormal surge, but in a different setting. Kai was streaming to roughly 100,000 people, and it was one of those chilled-out streams where he would just talk to chat and not do much else. Throughout the stream, he started to get more and more conscious that someone or something was in the house with him, and at one point it clearly decided to make its presence known.
No. Oh. Hey, if you kill me, 100,000 is watching. Come out like that ass. I got a big ass dog, bro. It's mad people watching, bro. Just come out, bro. Do something.
Kai clearly did not think that this was a spirit, as he used threats with his weapon, but after he went to loom around the door and saw nobody there, he had second thoughts. Furthermore, the fact that the cross fell made a lot of sense if there was an evil entity in the room, so it is safe to assume that there was. At this point, you would expect Kai Cenat to contact someone for advice on how to deal with being tormented by poltergeists, but he just doesn't seem to learn. That is right, I have another paranormal video of Kai lined up, but before I get into it, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss other haunter videos like this one. This stream was more of a regular stream, and he was seemingly building things with his guest. The guest was a child, so it made sense that they were doing something more on the fun side of things. Little did any of them know that things were going to spiral elsewhere, though. The doors literally opened themselves in front of both their eyes, and they had no idea how to react. It was obvious that no external force had acted upon the doors, making this scenario very freaky indeed. The following video is a snippet from one of the most haunting streams in history, and there is a very big reason as to why it gets this title. Most streams with ghostly appearances have one big event, and then the ghost disappears, never to be caught in the act again. This one, on the other hand, happened all stream. The streamer managed to obtain 5 minutes of pure paranormal footage, which is absurd, so enjoy this snippet.
Like how much?
It's not like we needed, guys. It's not like we needed any sleep grenades.
Yes.
What the heck?
Did you guys see that? I like how we're back to playing Skyrim. Like, alright.
I'm not gonna fucking.
It's like.
I'm fuck it. You know. Just gonna focus on the raid, man. Do you feel
all
cold?
my viewers...
I'm shivering a lot. Does that count for anything?
Fucking. I think we're all shivering a little bit.
We kind of are, yeah. No, God, not again.
Dishonored trailer. I don't give a shit about Dishonored 2 right now.
It just did it again.
Oh. There's Elvis running in the fucking corner again. Are you fucking done? Are you fucking done?
Is he punching the door?
I hope to God he is.
I think he
We're
just
about to
ticked
find out in a
off
few
him.
seconds.
No, okay.
What the I guess one last final look at the apartment. Like, hey, what's up? I just want to let everyone know that I'm alright, I guess. So, oh, cool. Alright. Oh.
Out of nowhere, the box went from moving slowly and being barely noticeable to flying across the room. Furthermore, the door also closed and seemed to have a mind of its own. The streamer somehow ignored the situation and plowed through, but it is safe to say that this was not one of his best nights. The following video took place in an unknown location, and the lore to it is very suspicious because, well, there is not much of it at all. All we know is that the woman behind the camera felt some form of weird and chilling feeling trickle down her spine, so thought that it would be a smart idea to record, and she was correct because what she captured was disturbing to say the least.
Miren esa camisa anda sola, chicos.
Estoy con los pelos de punta. Mira. ¿A ustedes les parece que me puede pasar esto?
The clinical bed slowly rolled its way down the corridor towards the woman filming the incident, and she was very fortunate that it rolled on past her, like she was not there. This would have been much spookier if it had come to a complete standstill or came back towards the camera at the end. Due to the object being a clinical bed, most people theorize that this took place in a hospital of some sort, meaning that the chances of this being a spirit would have been very high. Norwich CT State Hospital was a place that had no previous records of paranormal activity, which is a pretty clean record considering it was a hospital. One day, a guy and some of his friends decided to visit an abandoned section of this hospital late at night to try and prove that this place was in fact haunted, and after the video that they managed to capture it, is safe to say that they got their proof. The video took place at 2 in the morning, and the man filming explained afterwards that he had never felt a fear like that in his life, and furthermore, he could not sleep for days. Take a look.
That's not my phone. That's not my phone. You heard that, right? I don't know. You heard that. Dude, I swear. Dude, I swear to God it wasn't me. Oh my God, look at that.
To start the clip off the group, hear the voice of a female, which meant that it could not have been any of them, since they were all men. This creeped them out, but of course, it could have been one of them playing a silly prank, so they did not consider it to be too much of a threat. However, when the camera panned to an opening in the wall, a lanky white figure peeked into the building before noticing the camera set up and ducking back behind cover. This was a rare capture of an apparition, and a frightening one to say the least. This next video is going to have one big question that I am going to allow you guys to be the one to solve. Was the man in it crazy, or was he seriously experiencing something caused by entities from the underworld? It was very late at night, and the security guard, Matt, was on duty making sure to only allow legitimate patients into the clinic. They only accepted booked appointments at this time of night, so it was crucial that he did his job correctly, and in his mind, he did. However, the cameras said otherwise. In his mind, Matt was accepting a poor patient into the hospital who needed a wheelchair to enter, but in reality, he was really the victim of a poltergeist. As you can see, Matt believed that he was doing his job, but one glance at the camera told everybody that this was not the case. Matt must have witnessed a spirit which took the form of a human and was unfortunately invisible to a camera. When Matt was made aware of this, he stayed adamant that he was doing his job, but after seeing the CCTV footage, even he double-questioned himself. This remains one of the more unsolvable mysteries on this channel, but be sure to leave a verdict in the comments as to whether Matt was genuinely going insane or if this seemed to have a spiritual cause behind it. Most spirits will at least try to keep their acts subtle and leave a bit of mystery behind them, but the poltergeist in the following video did the exact opposite. It must have been on a mission to make itself as noticeable as possible, because if anybody in the room missed it, then they would seriously have to be checked for blindness. It took place in a nurse's clinic, and at the time she had no patients with her, so she was just enjoying her little break on her phone. The spirit present clearly didn't like the idea of her having any fun though, and decided to do this. All the ceiling tiles moved almost in unison, and the nurse made sure to take out her phone to capture what was going on. To her surprise, the spirit did not stop when she started filming it and supposedly started moving the tiles at an even faster rate, which was a very peculiar phenomenon indeed. Clocks can be annoying sometimes. From getting themselves stuck to being a few minutes off the actual time, people constantly have to readjust them if they want their clocks to be perfect. Many would think that this was a problem only humans have to endure though, and that would make sense considering we invented them. However, little does anyone know that spirits are supposedly just as time-conscious as we are, as shown by this clip that I am about to reveal to you. A clock in a hospital had been broken for weeks now, and due to all of the staff owning mobile devices, none of them could really be bothered fixing it. Fortunately though, a poltergeist decided to give them a favor and do the task for them. The clock began to spin around its axis at an unnatural pace, so the staff member on scene naturally started filming it. The part that made this clip surreal was the fact that the clock reached a standstill at the exact right time, meaning that something must have been behind this, and it could not have been a shock coincidence. After the recording ended, the nurse decided to thank the spirit, and nothing happened in return. Who knows what the spirit's motive was here, but at least it was offering a helping hand, rather than intentionally causing fear. Unlike the rest of the clips in this video, our next clip was not captured by a staff member at a hospital, but a patient instead, and I am sure they will remember this experience for the rest of their life. The patient's name was Alex, and he had come to the hospital because he had broken a bone whilst at boxing, which would be detrimental to his progress in the sport, so it kind of sucked, to be honest. The ghost that took it upon itself to haunt Alex at this low had no filter though, because almost immediately after he took a seat, the video that you are about to see took place.
No hay nadie.
Somehow, the chair constantly moved in small bursts, and Alex was left speechless with the only option he had being recording the incident. After ending the recording, he went to the hospital's help desk and showed them the video as evidence of his story being real. But both of the receptionists told him not to mess around in a hospital and that they had more important matters on their hands. Were they in the wrong for saying this? Let me know in the comments. On August the 22nd of 2022, a mysterious video would be uploaded to TikTok that would spook all of the innocent viewers who stumbled across it. Like the rest of the short clips that I have featured in today's video, it took place in a hospital, except this time it was out at the back. The man filming the video was not a patient, but just a bystander who found this location relaxing and visited often. This time he had brought his pet dog with him for extra comfort and protection. Little did he know that the only disturbance that came his way would not be interceptable by his dog though, and especially not by him. Out of the blue, a wheelchair started to roll around as if it had somebody in it, which obviously it did not. The reason behind the wheelchair rolling like this is unknown, but most people suspect that an elderly person must have passed away in the hospital and found the wheelchair to make their way back home. Of course, this is just a theory though, and we do not know this for certain. Being a police officer is undoubtedly one of, if not the most dangerous job in the world. It involves hunting down criminals with the capability of causing mass harm to you, which is why we see these officers as the heroes that they are. Now, of course, they are highly trained in this field and are drilled on how to react to all sorts of threats. But in the following video, they came across a threat that no amount of training could save them from. This threat was something that people rarely experience, but these brave officers were unfortunate enough to come across, and it even caused one of them to quit their job. When they all saw the supposed door opening and closing, they immediately used their brains and went towards it. The likelihood was that this was the location of the criminal that they were closing in on, and despite it probably being a trap, they at least had to confirm his location. However, when they reached the area, they found out that the door was to a compartment that nobody could have fit inside, and no one was in the area. In complete and utter confusion, they looked around the area, hoping to find someone, but that never happened. The following video was captured by a worker at her local trauma center called Danny Renee. Her colleagues loved her for the fun and energetic vibe she brought to the workplace, and she was also amazing at treating the people who were admitted to her. One day, a patient expired in her clinic, so the room was cleaned, reset, and prepared for the next patient of the day. Furthermore, all of the wires were disconnected in the room, meaning that what you are about to see should not have happened.
That is crazy. Very.
The pattern on the reader was very realistic, as if a patient was actually hooked up to the system, but of course, as nobody was on the clinical bed, no one was connected. Danya called down the information technology support team to come and help her solve what could have solved this mess, but they found no issues with the machine, meaning that it was genuinely reading what it was showcasing. This was a highly confusing event, because why on earth would a spirit choose to do something like this? Perhaps just to scare Danny, but it was very disturbing nonetheless. Young men will do all sorts of dangerous things to entertain themselves, and that is why you see videos on social media explaining why women live longer than men. The group of men in the final clip of this video were exploring an abandoned hospital in the dead of the night when they all saw something horrifying. They went into this hospital expecting the bare minimum to happen. Potentially, a few noises could occur, or maybe some weird shadow castings, but no amount of preparation could have gotten them ready for what they really had to go through. Have a close watch.
Multilemni. Multilemni.
Some sort of spirit was down there with them, and you could see its white figure across the tunnel. Many speculators believed that it was simply a weird casting of light that caused this figure, but based on the fear of the men, I highly doubt that this was the case. They all reported feeling lightheaded and ill afterwards, which just further leads me to believe that this was far more than a weird casting and something that needed to be taken seriously. The following video comes from security footage at a hospital where a man called Salid worked. He was doing his tasks mindlessly when suddenly some commotion began happening in the security department, and he went to inquire. A colleague of his explained that the officer had seen some sort of human shadow on the helipad where nobody should have been, and suspected that a spirit was present. Everyone knew that no one should have been on the helipad at that time. Curiously, Salid decided to ask to see the footage since he worked with incoming flights a lot, and sure enough, the shadow was not a figment of his colleague's imagination. The shadow slowly progressed along the helipad, and after seeing this, Salid was the first member of staff to alert the higher-ups. They claimed that it was likely just a camera malfunction, and that they were not going to take any further action. Should the managers have treated the situation differently? On May the 20th of 2017, a nurse was walking through a children's hospital when they noticed something that they just had to take a closer look at. The nurse was trying to get to a clinic that had called her and asked for assistance, which was rather unfortunate because she was supposed to be on her break. It was also unfortunate because it caused her to come across a spirit, and if its goal was to disturb the poor nurse, then it was definitely successful. In this video, you could see a balloon floating as if somebody was carrying it, and the likelihood is that this was caused by the ghost of a young child. This is because the children's hospital had saved many kids, but unfortunately hosted the deaths of some too, making it very likely that it was one of these past souls that haunted the hospital. When you go to work, there is usually a set routine and you stick to it. This is the case for many employees because the last thing that people want is to be unorganized and all over the place. But of course, every now and then some hurdles are thrown at you that cause the day to spiral elsewhere. This was the case for the staff present at IAMS at the time of 1 p.m. who were on their lunch break. This lunch break in particular was their favorite, because their friend group were all on shift at the time, but this time around, something unexpected happened to them. Have a watch.
Ándale, hazlo de vuelta, eso. Eso, sí. ¡Bravo! ¡Qué fantasmita! Ciérralas. Ciérralas, ándale, ciérralas. Mira. Ciérralas.
For some strange reason, the doors continued to open and close without any human interaction, and it was super clear that no one or nothing was interacting with it. It is important to note that this place had never hosted any paranormal activity before this, and this was a one-time thing, but frightening nonetheless. In case of any future similar scenarios, the boss of the place decided to bring in a ghost hunter the following week to see if they could pin down the issue, and to their fortune, there was no entity present, and this was just a one-time incident. A format that we see plenty regarding the catching of paranormal activity is a moving wheelchair, and it is unknown why this is so common when it comes to spirits in hospitals. A theory that many people suggest is that they are the poltergeists of elderly people who still rely on wheelchairs in the afterlife. But this would make zero sense, because the wheelchair never moves all of the time. Regardless of what the cause is, these phenomenons occur regularly, and the piece of footage that I am going to expose you to shortly captures something like it.
Estas son las cosas que pasan aquí en CDT con Chesum. Me cago. Ándate la mierda. ¿Pero qué es eso?
Strangely, the wheelchair moved as if somebody was in it, and the person filming the incident was justifiably in utter disbelief. Of course, the hospital had hosted many deaths, so it made sense as to why it would be haunted, but the chances of this happening in front of her very eyes must have been very low. We are going back 5 years for this next clip, and it was captured using a CCTV camera system in El Salvador. The cameras were mainly placed there to deter people from committing crimes within the hospital, and the staff had no clue that it was going to live to record spirits wreaking their havoc. The cameras were placed in the corridor that attached the hospital to the morgue, but was registered as a hospital camera, so this incident did also occur inside a hospital, well, at least right besides one.
Y pusiste más polarizado este.
No. No, está igual, hay que mandarlo a polarizar. Al 40 fue donde le jalan la...
Ahorita le están jalando, pero despacito, bien despacito. Como ven, la están jalando, pero está acostado. Mira yo. ¿Qué es muy sí, del 39 empieza a moverse, ¿eh? Ahí empieza a moverse. Así.
Mira cómo me va. Hasta ahí llega.
What looked to be some sort of hose pipe started to unravel out of its box without any external force acting upon it, meaning only one thing. This must have been a ghost. The video was very quickly posted to social media to gather the opinions of people, and the consensus was that the place was in fact haunted. You should comment your opinions on the event in the comment section down below so that I can see what our audience think. This Japanese reporter and her cameraman took a long and hard think as to what would get views. Their show had been in a drought for viewership, and they really needed a banger to revive it, so they came up with the idea of visiting the most haunted hospital on live stream by themselves. This was a silly idea, because not only were they not in the presence of experts, but they also had no equipment to detect anything, so it was obviously going to end badly and well. I will let you judge how it went.
この先にちょっと入ってみたいと思います。なんかこう埃っぽいようななんか空気がよどんでる感じがすごくします。本当に心霊写真が撮れるかどうかいくつか写してみたいと思います。 このカメラ、怪我をした男性が落としたカメラですね。何か不気味なものが映ってます。なんだろう。
In the mind of the woman, there was another person there, but something in her mind told her that it didn't look human-like enough to actually be a person. This drove her absolutely insane, because she had no idea whether or not they were in danger, and this caused them to end the live stream and sneak out of the facility. Fortunately, they both made it out unharmed, but they were certainly scarred mentally, and you should take this as a sign to not go roaming in locations known for being haunted. In Spain, a large hospital was due an expansion, and it was closed. On a specified day, the cleaning crew were all set to come in and sort out the main areas of the hospital so that it looked nice and neat upon reopening. But during this, one of the cleaners recorded a very disturbing video on their mobile device. They were doing their job when they started noticing a trash can's lid moving, so took out their phone to try and capture it. This was not the only thing that they were able to film. Of course, the trash can was a frightening experience for the cleaner, but the fact a child sprinted past the corridor in the background was rather strange. As I stated, only the cleaning crew were supposed to be in the building at the time, and the child looked way too young to have the mind to sneak into places. Furthermore, nobody was caught trespassing in the hospital that day, so even if it was a real child, then they would have had to escape without being seen, and that would have been pretty hard whilst running. The leading theory was that this was the apparition of a spirit, and I definitely go by this theory. It is quite hard to know whether or not you have experienced a haunting or a coincidence, but there is one way that most people determine this. When a spirit is present, it is often reported that a cold and evil feeling waves over a person, almost as if they can sense the presence. The person in our following video described this feeling perfectly after uploading it and knew that something was there. All of his senses were telling him that he was being watched, and this was backed up by what happened physically. The wheelchair moved on its own accord, almost as if somebody was actually sitting in it. The man was fortunate to have caught this on his mobile camera, because the device was on 1%, so the event occurred at the perfect time, which adds even more bizarreness to the situation. There are many ways in which a person can be haunted, but there is one way that has a scare factor, far worse than any other. Before I tell you, you should have a guess in the comments and subscribe whilst you are down there. But it is apparitions. This is when a spirit shows itself to a human, and it makes sense that they are both the most rare and the most frightening things at the same time. The following one was filmed in a hospital, like all the clips in this video, and it was disturbing to put things mildly.
Oscar, 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 Oscar. ¿Qué pasó? Marica, había un niño, huevón. Oscar, había un niño, huevón.
The child did not stand there for long once the camera panned to it, and sprinted with an almost perfect reaction time. It is obvious that no child could respond to something like this so fast, and even the way it sprinted was uncanny, so it is fair to assume that this was an apparition. Furthermore, the man behind the camera claimed to have felt that tingly feeling that you get when an unwanted presence is there, which further proves that it was a ghost. CCTV is a useful resource used to capture all sorts of activity if humans are not present, but they never fail to film the unexpected. For example, this final video was caught on the CCTV monitoring the exterior premises of the hospital, and it managed to capture a human-like apparition.
Ay, sí, bueno, yo también me quedé cojudo. Ahí al doctor Anthony Choi lo vamos a llevar.
Uy, qué
¿Dónde sale? Mira, ahí está, ahorita viene, ahí viene.
Es un fantasma, no lo va a captar.
Mira, ¿has visto?
Mira cómo sale.
¿Has visto dónde ha salido?
Caminando tranquilamente con brazos y piernas.
Félix tiene que salir de dudas.
Pasache.
¿Qué pasó?
Un
fantasma. Mira.
At first, it seemed as if the spirit was genuinely a human because it had the same structure and way of walking, but once it disappeared into thin air, the opposite was revealed. The following video was captured in a hospital somewhere in South America, and the moment perfectly captivates the fear of a member of staff. Operating on what she believed to be a regular old shift, she assumed all she would be doing was treating a few patients and then making her way back home. But this time around, when it became late, the most unexpected thing possible happened.
Ahí está, ya la aprendí, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa?
Ay, no. Salí de la pieza a las 4, hace un pozo, cuando salí tenía otra. Cuando vine para acá, se me empezó a pegar, boludo. Me pegué un pedazo y ahora lo veo.
Empieza la estática, boludo. Está lejos.
Está viniendo para acá.
Ay, la concha de la lora. La pibita de la camacita me dijo que le tocaron la pierna, que le apretaron la pierna. Ay, mierda, se viene para acá.
Pero se viene para acá, pero tú no. ¿Ha prendido el aire algo?
¿Qué sé yo? Sí, creo que sí.
¿Tomá el pirulito? Vamos para adentro.
Me fui la mierda, la
No,
concha
la
de
concha.
la lora. Ahí está.
Asoma el
Pase
culo.
largo, boludo.
¿Sí?
No. Ay, la concha de la lora. Ay, la puta que te parió.
Now, it is pretty difficult to decipher what this video was actually about, but to put it easily, that orange ball must have been some form of spirit. Purely based on the reactions of the staff members in the area, this never happened in the hospital before, so it is more than safe to assume it was an anomaly, but it is the type of anomaly that we are unsure about. The nurse and her assistant both showcased the final video to their boss, who surprisingly did not show any sympathy towards them. They continued to work in the hospital, but this moment remained engraved in their mind. This next video is very old compared to the other ones that I tend to discuss on this channel, but just as creepy as the rest. It took place in a clinic whilst two nurses had 10 minutes to kill. They had just finished treating a patient and needed to wait for their next one to arrive, and this explains why they were laughing and messing around. Despite the vibes being through the roof, and both nurses seemingly having a great time though, some sort of exterior entity did not seem to be fond of the joy that they were experiencing and interrupted by doing this.
Es que te estoy enfocando a las boobies. Ah, no mames.
¿Qué?
Pasó algo.
¿Qué pasó? No mames.
A ver, ven. No mames, pasó algo, te lo juro que pasó algo,
Se mueve, se mueve.
Vete a la verga.
Yo no voy.
No mames.
The male nurse heard a bang from the neighboring room, so decided that it would be the smart move to go and investigate. You always have to be alert for things like this in case a patient is trying to escape or some form of intruder is trying to break in. But of course, as you and I both know, it was none of these things. The trolley in the room slid away from the man, and the female nurse quickly sprinted out of the room, not wanting to claim any negative energy from the spirit. And can you really blame her? If any of us came across an event like this, I guarantee we would be out of there as quickly as possible. Now, unlike the other two hospitals where the clips so far have taken place, the clip that you are about to be exposed to happened in an abandoned one. This meant that it was not being operated, and nobody, not even the person filming, should have been in there, making the event that happened more unexplainable than the rest. The time was 1 a.m. in the morning, and the man behind the camera was attempting to capture some content for views. He hoped to come across some mild activity, but nothing too frightening, and what he did end up coming across was shocking. Have a watch. The ICU door continued to open and close without any sort of interaction from humans or objects alike, meaning that an invisible force must have been acting on it. For your information, there was no window or source of wind in this area of the hospital, so before you begin to start typing about that being the cause, then stop. But I get why you would think that. Ironically, after this event, the man behind the camera decided that this kind of stuff certainly wasn't for him, and he decided to upload the video. To his shock, it actually did quite well, and if he carried on with the paranormal videos, then it is likely he would have seen great success, but in the end, it just was not worth it. The upcoming video was captured using CCTV, which is a useful tool that helps mankind with many things. Whether it is catching criminals or making sure your children are not misbehaving, these camera systems are amazing for everyday use, but every now and then they catch some wild things. By wild things, I am referring to poltergeists, and you would be surprised to find out how many ghosts are really caught, not with the naked human eye, but through a lens. With that said, this video is one of those instances, and it was very strange to say the least. An apparition of a child appeared in the room with the family, and it was very disturbing how all of the people present on scene just strolled past it, like it was nothing. The implications of this was that none of them could actually see the spirit, and it was only showing itself to the camera in order to frighten the security team sitting behind it. And based on the reaction coming from behind the woman's camera, it definitely succeeded in this job. Since the CCTV did not allow her to replay the scenario, her only form of evidence that this happened was her mobile phone, so she was very smart to have filmed the whole incident, or who knows whether they would have believed her or not. Visiting your elders in hospital can be one of the most saddening and down-putting visits of your life. Due to their old age and ill condition when you make these visits, there is absolutely no guarantee that you are going to see them again afterwards, so it is very important to make it count. However, despite this being an extremely rare incident, sometimes things go well for the relative, but not so well for the visitor, and this happened in the video that I am going to show you very shortly. In a deep and heartfelt moment between father and son, the father suddenly begins to move again, which gives the son hope, but at what cost?
What?
As his father began to move and show signs of being awake and functional again, the device which was responsible for monitoring the father's heartbeat slid towards the bed. This startled the poor son, who for a moment had the fear that his father had passed, and this was his spirit's way of saying goodbye. But fortunately, this was not the case. If the ghost was not his father, though then, who knew what it was and what its motives truly were? The sad reality is that we will never be able to find out. A common misconception regarding the paranormal world is that all poltergeists have to have bad intentions. This is because the only ghost stories that get true attention and media coverage are the ones where bad and crazy things happen because, well, let's face it, from an outside perspective, they are way more entertaining. There is on the other side a nice side to ghost videos, where the spirits are nothing but friendly and supportive towards their, quote, victims. For example, the ghost in the following video decided to pay a little visit to a young girl in a children's hospital, and unlike almost every scenario on this channel, it was rather wholesome. Enjoy.
Okay, go. Who is it?
It's so weird.
Is it you?
Is it me? It's not me.
It's motion sensor. There's no one over there. Okay, do it one more time.
Do it one more time, please.
Okay. One last time.
Okay. Wait, so are we friends now? Can you do it again if we're friends now?
Oh.
We're not friends? You don't like me? Okay.
Are you a doctor?
Are you a... Wait, so do it again if you're a doctor. Wait, are you messing with us or are you actually a doctor? I don't know. Are you just messing with us? Okay. Well.
I don't know.
The spirit was happy to communicate and have fun with the girl, keeping her entertained and distracted from the fact she was in a hospital. As someone who makes all of his videos on evil spirits, this was rather refreshing to watch, and certainly acted as a nice reminder that not every poltergeist has to be evil. If you enjoyed this clip, then make sure to comment about it, because I will include more positive encounters in future videos if that is what you guys would like. Moving away from such a bright topic and back onto the dismal side of the paranormal world, this video was caught on a mobile phone by a security guard at his hospital that he called work. His job was fairly easy, and he would go as far as to say he had life lucky. It was very rare that somebody would want to cause havoc in a hospital, so there were not really many security tasks to be doing at all. But of course, there had to be one night that ruined it all. Except this did not entail a security breach. It was 11 p.m. at night, and the hospital was starting to get quiet, but just as the guard was about to step down his game and start eating his snacks, one of the most unexpected events of his life happened. Let's see if you are as frightened by this clip as I was.
See, I fucking do. No.
Out of the blue, the wheelchair slowly glided across the corridor, and the security guard was utterly mesmerized. Now I can already hear all of the doubters explaining that the video must have been staged. Otherwise, why would the guard have been filming this moment? Well, I will completely put this theory to one side, because the reasoning behind this makes a lot of sense. Apparently, Whilst the guard was walking around the hospital, he thought to himself that the chair must have moved, so took out his phone to see if it would happen again. This perfectly explains why he somehow had his phone at the ready in this rare moment. Ghostly experiences are rare, full stop, but there is one form of paranormal activity that far exceeds the rareness of others. Of course, I am referring to apparitions. The whole real gimmick of spirits is that they can do things whilst you cannot see them performing these acts, which is what makes them spooky. If you could see somebody moving your water bottle, then you would likely be much less freaked out than if it just slid off the table without any interaction. Point proven. However, every so often these ghosts enjoy going to the next level in frightening their prey by revealing their uncanny and off-putting appearance, which happened in this clip. It was filmed by a ghost hunter hired by the local council to eradicate all of the unwanted entities within a hospital, and the pay was very high. It is important to note that the council promised the ghost hunter that no one else would be on site during the search, which was a very strict protocol of his. This made the clip very inexplicable. Along the corridor from the hunter, some sort of lanky black figure peeked around the door, and it was pretty clear that this was not the figure of a human. At first, the ghost hunter's mind failed to process what he had seen, but moments later, the picture replayed in his mind, and he doubled back his steps. After pausing the recording of the incident, he supposedly went down the corridor and into the room of which the figure came out of, but no human was inside. This was obviously the act of a spirit. The Brazilian police are no joke, and you would be very silly to mess with them. Unsurprisingly though, Brazil has its fair share of criminals, and this next clip took place during a thorough search for these gangsters. The police had been searching for a set group of criminals for months leading up to this incident, and when their moment finally came to capture them, they took no second chances. They quickly armed themselves before adventuring far from civilization to the supposed complex that the criminals resided in. But what they found was far from a group of gangsters and much more frightening. Have a watch.
Caralho, bicho, que é isso, mano? Cuidado, Judá. Cuidado, mano, que é isso, mano? Mano, não tem nada. Caralho, mano, que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano. Mano, que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano, bora, mano. Deus me livre, mano. Vai, mano, vai, mano. Vai, mano, vai, mano. Vai, mano. Corre. Caralho, mano, que é isso, bicho?
The officers heard some loud banging from further down the complex, so decided to go towards it, suspecting that this was the location that the criminals were hiding in. Once they arrived, they quickly realized that this was far from the case. The doors were continuously opening and closing without any sort of human interaction or visible force, which made things very freaky. Eventually, the cops realized that the place must have been some huge setup and no gang lived there. It was just a trap, luring them into one of Brazil's most haunted buildings. On July the 2nd of 2023, a video was uploaded to YouTube from Mexico, which would frighten all potential visitors from visiting the hospital of which it took place in. Before this video was uploaded, it was one of the most highly rated hospitals in the area, with the majority of patients wishing to be referred there. However, afterwards, all of this changed for the worse. Now you are probably wondering how dire the paranormal event must have been to cause such a drastic switch in the local community, and I must say that it was pretty horrible. The staff at the hospital are currently working with members of their local church, ghost experts and ghost hunters to resolve this issue. And if they fail to make any effect, the likelihood is that the place will need to close for good. Here is the clip.
No veo nada. Miren. Miren. Acaban de ver eso. Se acaba de caer un bote. Se está moviendo esto. No veo nada. No hay nadie por acá. No hay nadie por acá. A la una. Miren, se movió esto. Ahorita que venía caminando por acá. No veo a nadie. Miren. 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 Miren cómo se mueve eso. Para que vean que no hay nadie aquí.
For a place which has never received any form of complaint regarding the paranormal world, this was massive news, and people were confused as to what must have caused it. The fact that seemingly out of nowhere, a place could become haunted made zero sense. But when you use your brain, I guess it was kind of inevitable. The most likely place to become a place of paranormal activity is a hospital, because several families are ripped apart within them, which can anger a lot of the patients who unfortunately end up passing away. I guess their good service, based off all of the reviews, must have kept the deceased happy for quite some time, but something must have angered one of them, or none of this would have happened. In the following video, a young girl by the name of Sabrina was in her room doing regular things when some really weird things began to happen. Out of panic, she ran out of the room to the living room where the rest of her family were, but shortly after she decided to go back and investigate with her phone. What she managed to film was very freaky. First of all, if you paid close attention, you would have noticed that the door opened without any form of interaction from Sabrina, which was very weird. This was nothing in comparison to what actually happened in the room though. From falling books to closing wardrobes, everything paranormal went down in there, and we can only hope that Sabrina managed to get out okay. On December the 5th of 2011, Ricky Squire was filming an innocent video for the boys' group chat. Everybody in the chat decided to show off some of their coolest possessions, and it happened to be Ricky's turn, so he was walking around recording show-off worthy things. One of these things happened to be his truck, which was an impressive thing to own at the age of Ricky at the time. It was while he was introducing this truck to his video though that the unexpected happened, and fortunately, he did not stop the recording.
There's my truck. I fucking need to sell that fucking thing. Brandon don't want to sell it though. I don't know what the fuck for. Shit. Bailey! What the? Bailey! What the fuck? What the?
Somehow, the chair in the kitchen moved on its own accord, and it was very clear that there were no strings or other interfering items in the area. As if this was not enough to scare the living daylight out of Ricky, the spirit also opened the refrigerator door, and based on the reaction it got from Ricky, it certainly did the job of provoking fear. Losing the life of a loved one is a very sad time for anybody, and the feeling is the same when you lose a pet. The man in the following video had owned a dog for several years now, and he just could not picture a life without the pet until it left him. 3 days prior to this ghostly encounter, the dog was unfortunately put down due to its illness, and whilst it was the best that they could do for the hound, it broke the family's heart regardless. You know what they say when you lose a loved one though? They will always be with you in your heart. Well, that was the case for this family.
Hey! Hey!
One thing that the dog used to always enjoy doing was opening and closing the door to his crate, and none of them knew why. At the time, the man behind the camera did not realize the connection between what was happening to the crate and the passing of his dog. But after the realization hit him, he knew that it was his long-serving pet, which came back to visit him and regretted showing fear and discomfort. Abdullah was a man who did not have many friends, so he took a lot of passion when it came to live streaming. This activity gave him a way to connect with tons of people, as well as make some pocket money on the side of his real job, so there were no real negatives to doing it. However, one fateful night when he was doing one of his usual streams, where he would discuss life with his viewers, something extremely shocking happened, and you may have a look.
I was live on Instagram and then this happened.
कौन? कौन? الله لا إله إلا هو الكل لا تؤذوا سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفعون له لا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يؤتون بشيء من علمه إلا ما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم من سمعه. कौन हो? कौन? It's around 11. मैं भी Instagram पे भी live आया हुआ था. I was just live on Instagram and कौन? मैं खोल लगा था. मैं नहीं खोलूँगा.
Very late at night, Abdullah's door began to knock, and due to the time this should not have been happening. At first, he jumped to the conclusion that it was a group of drunk people after a party or something along those lines, but it is pretty safe to assume that if that were the case, they would have responded to his words. When Abdullah posted this video online, everybody thought that he was going crazy if he seriously had any belief that this was caused by a spirit. There was no way a ghost would waste its time knocking on a door when it could just stroll through it, right? Well, Abdullah read all of the comments claiming that this was not a ghost and decided to make a second part. Here it is.
So this happened again.
अब्बा अपना नाम बताओ पहले मुझे. अपना नाम. मेरा नाम अब्दुल्ला. अपना नाम बताओ. तुम्हारा अब्दुल्ला मैं हूं, तुम नहीं हो. नहीं खोलना मैंने. ओके मुझे आयतुल कुर्सी आती है. मैं आयतुल कुर्सी पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर दूंगा. निकल जाओ यहां से. आओ अंदर आओ 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 अंदर अब जो भी हो मगर मेरी एक बात याद रखना जहां से भी तुमने जो भी करना तुम
This time around, things became much freakier and much less deniable, even for the non-believers. Mimics are some of the most frustrating and horrifying poltergeist forms because they can copy anyone's voice, making it really easy for them to lure you into doing something. In this particular scenario, they managed to lure Abdullah into opening his door, which must have allowed them inside of the house. Due to Abdullah being huge on religion and not committing many sins, with the ones he had committed being repented for, it made no sense as to why these spirits chose him to cast their hauntings upon. Unfortunately, we will never truly know whether or not they meant harm, because after causing a small mess, they did not do much. But I advise you to wish Abdullah luck in the comments.